Yeah, we
awesome.
like to speak to and educate. So
Tell me about it. Like,
That's a
what is
blast.
basically the what do you do with the trauma guide?
Okay, so, well, we're kind of doing both with Break the Silence Against Domestic Violence and then the Trauma Survivors
Yeah, I
Guide.
was going to go to both. I got that. I know you want to talk about the event you have coming up and all that, but let's start with the trauma guide.
Okay, so the trauma.
Because I see you guys all over the Facebook, and I
Yeah.
see you posting stuff, and
Oh, she kills the social
she
media.
kills it, man.
Oh, man.
It's a job.
It is a job to stay like that.
Oh my gosh! Luckily,
yeah.
that you can schedule things. But okay, so the trauma.
That's true. I've been trying to tell Cole
Yeah,
that for like 6
schedule.
months. I'm like, dude, you can just schedule this stuff.
Get up in the morning. I do it every morning. But yeah, so the Trauma Survivors Guide to Life Abundantly, we are sharing blogs where we talk about, I reference my personal story. I kind of think of it as like a diary, although I always try to tie in how it's practical and something tangible that can help now. He started blogging too, which
Oh, yeah.
he's like,
I caught one of your fitness ones.
Do you like that?
Yeah, I did.
He shares some fitness tips and things
Yeah.
like that. Because again, at the Trauma Survivors Guide, we believe in mind, body, soul. We eat plant based, for instance, and so
Yes, I actually noticed that as well. That's
because
awesome.
nutrition and exercise and all that things. It's not just about like the way you look. Realistically, I've had a lot of mental health issues myself, and the inflammation that comes from certain foods has affected me. And so the only thing that's helped me is changing up my nutrition, taking supplements. I'm not a big fan of prescription drugs, as you can probably see.
Yeah.
But it's not even about that, because I don't judge that. My children, I have boys that are diagnosed with ADHD. They take medication. So I'm not anti-medication. It just does not work for me.
Yeah.
So I take supplements and things like that. So
Maybe afterwards you can tell me some, because I struggle with inflammation and self-control. So I can't, I know I should be eating a plant-based diet. I have zero self-control. So every so often Cole will come in my office and be like, do you want me to get you a salad? And I'm like, yeah.
Well,
yeah,
and
I
too,
guess.
when you've struggled with any kind of addiction, it's about changing the reward receptors in your brain.
Yes.
So our brain from childhood, something becomes a reward, whether it's food, whether it's in anything, a drug, coffee. I love coffee. But when we're younger, our brain, it's very tricky, where we believe that this thing is a reward, and when we don't have it, it feels like we're punishing ourselves.
Yeah, the pain.
So if you have certain temperaments or personality types where you don't like punishment, if you like to feel rewarded, that's when addiction.
Isn't that everybody? Does somebody like punishment? That's a whole nother issue.
Yeah. That's another
That's
topic.
another broadcast.
There are people though that are very self-harming and things like that. But so when you learn, your brain learns like, oh, this feels good. That's where you get a lot of addicts. So realistically, people can be prone to even having, that's when they say that addictive personality. What it is our brains can be prone to certain things like that. So inflammation has ties to PTSD. And so you can even see the brains of people that have PTSD, there's a lot of inflammation. So if you can lower that inflammation, you actually can help triggers of PTSD.
Wow, that's amazing.
I know I went on a huge healing journey and researched so many things, because I was like, I can't live like this anymore.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what we do at the Trauma Survivors Guide. We try to help people learn how to live, and not just the fluffy things, not just saying
Not
the
just
things.
get by.
Yeah, like
Mediocre.
we want to talk about nutrition.
Right.
We want to talk about some of the spiritual stuff that comes with abuse and sexual sin and things like that. Because when you're abused, there's soul ties and things you need to break off of you.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
are not your fault. They're not your fault, but you
It still
have to
needs
be
to be broken off,
delivered.
yeah.
Deliverance and things like that. Just so many things that God's revealed to me. I don't claim to know it all, but what I do know is God's given me a lot of wisdom in this, because for my own sanity, and then he said, now I want you to help others. So when we created the Trauma Survivors Guide to Life Abundantly, that's what our heart was. How do we help people mind, body, and spirit? So we've spoken in events. We've done, we do things from silly things on there, like trauma recovery can be funny. Trauma recovery can be sad. Trauma recovery can be deep. It's just it's whatever the day, the moment you're in. So we try to get it from all angles. You know, we do graphics where we just talk about certain mental illnesses just so that people don't have a stigma. I've done a blog about ADHD because I wanted people to know my sons have really suffered and struggled with that. And it's not just this hyper thing. It's more than that. It's about impulse control and things like that. We've talked about body image issues. A lot of times when you've gone through trauma, it can affect the way you look at your body. Sexual trauma can affect that as well. We've talked about multiple things. And so we're just trying to educate, but also show the love of Christ. Because I honestly didn't think that God would care about my little body image issues, or I didn't think God would. He's so big up there. Like, he has so much more to deal with. So
he has so much more to do. God has a lot on his plate, okay?
Bigger
Let's just
fish
say
to
that.
fry, so to speak.
He's got this like Ukrainian thing right now. He's got homeless over here. It's like God's got body image over here. I'm too short. I've been struggling with that my whole life.
But he says, if you know anything that it bothers you, cast your cares on him because he cares. So I started to realize, like, oh, maybe God does care about that stuff, you know, and maybe my abuse and the triggers and the things that people, it's crazy the things that I've heard too. It's like, why didn't you leave? Or why didn't you do this?
Yeah,
and I'm
right.
like, okay, well, why don't you get a job? When I was, you know, with my kids, I did have a job, by the way, but I'm like, okay, I don't have people to watch the kids, and I gotta, single moms, that's another thing that we really try to talk, single parents, even dads, because there's so many things that people say, even meaning well. When my parents died, you just
some of the worst.
You just gotta trust God. Well, yeah, I know that, but right now I'm hurting, and I just need to feel like I can be safe in that, you know. And so we try to just give people a safe place to
Is it all in one location? Like, is it a website or Facebook or?
It's both. We have our website where you can see the blogs, you can see the speaking portfolios. We're growing, so we're trying to add more and more. But the social media, I think, is where there's more conversation. As you know, people can comment and things like that. So the social media has a lot of things that are not on the page, so it's good to see both.
Okay.
So if you're good, like to read and things like that, the blog, some people would rather see just a graphic, so that would be social media. But then some people want to take the time to read a blog. That's the website. And we're in the process of brainstorming some more things that we can do. I'd love to do a podcast one day myself. I'd love to do more videos and things like that. So we're getting there.
Yeah,
I think you're doing great, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, and as far as like a standpoint from a male's perspective, my mission with that too is to kind of break that stigma of mental health, especially because I think as men we're always taught, you know, don't talk about it. You know, whatever you're feeling, shove that down in. You know, and keep it there. Well, guess what? I'm walking example of the fact that you will blow up. Yeah, and it will not be pretty. And you could lose a lot of stuff in the process, even potentially something like your life, and that's where we get a lot of these suicide conversations and stuff like that. So I think I want to be that voice. I'd be like, hey, look, I'm not too proud to tell you my journey and tell you what I go through and tell you what I think and things of that. And I'm not afraid to talk about it. You know what I mean?
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, I think it's awesome to see, like, I know this sounds funny, but guys that are like macho and have all the tattoos and the muscles and all that, and then they're talking about mental health.
Right.
Because like my dad's generation, he didn't talk about that stuff.
No.
And then he was Hispanic, so that's another.
That's a whole nother cultural thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So you, as a man, you don't cry unless somebody dies. That's what he told me.
Yeah.
And so now I have all boys, and I have also my stepchildren. So I have a stepdaughter and a stepson, but with mostly boys. I want them to know that this is not an excuse for bad behavior, but it's an explanation as to why sometimes your brain works the way it does, and how can we help that. So their ADHD is not an excuse to go do all this, that, and the other, but we can talk about it, and that's okay. And if you're sad one day, let me know.
That's beautiful, man. That's like, you know, something that we have not represented well in our culture. The ability to be authentic, the ability to, and so that's why we have so many adults walking around who don't know who they are or what they're feeling, because they've been just taught to turn it off at such an early age, and it's painful. Have you heard of an organization called Reboot Recovery?
It sounds a little familiar.
It's you should really check them out. They're amazing. They've been around longer than both of us, but they do trauma recovery, and they began as a first responders trauma recovery.
Oh wow!
Oh, very
and
cool.
they do some amazing stuff. We're actually doing some partnership with them in the coming months, and worth checking out because it's right in line with what you guys do.
We're going trying to partner with lots of nonprofits in the Tampa Bay area, and even around the country via my job. But yeah, we're trying to partner because I feel like you can't do it alone. It's a village, you know. I feel
Right.
like,
There's no need to anyways, because let me just tell you, I've done nonprofit work for, almost 14, 15 years now. And money is hard to come by. And so spending money on things that you could easily utilize partnerships for, you start to realize, okay, I should partner with people just because of resources alone.
Right.
Because, you're not a state, funded organization. So if you don't have that state help and you're raising every single dollar yourself and you want to, live, be able to pay your bills.
that eating thing.
Yeah, that whole eating thing. It's like, especially eating healthy. It's like,
oh Lord,
that's a whole other thing. But the truth is, it's like partnerships. And honestly, that's what God wants anyways. He wants us to be partners for bringing his kingdom.
You have a wisdom, like for instance, if somebody's struggling with addiction, I know that you have a wisdom in that I may not have.
Right.
And so I want to connect people, and with Break the Silence too, we don't have.
Yeah, tell us about that. What is Break the Silence? Yeah, let's just.
So Break the Silence Against Domestic Violence is an organization. It's a nonprofit that is worldwide. We have been an organization for 10 years, and we try to be the middleman to bring advocacy and resources, connect people. So we have a support line. We have our social media, which you can message in. It's kind of like texting if you just need to talk to someone if you're going through it, or if you just need resources. We have people that need help with legal aid, or they need help with finding shelter. We help them find that in their area. So if they call from Boston, if they call from Los Angeles, that we would help them find that in their area, because a lot of people, when they're going through that stuff, it's not a matter, because you could easily find this stuff yourself, but you're so drained.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need help, or they just want to talk. So they just want to be heard, because some people, they haven't told anybody, and they know that it's confidential and safe. But we are also launching an ambassador program, which I will be over starting in May, where we are training volunteers to go out into their communities and be more of the hands and feet in their communities, because we have done a lot on social media. We have a very large social media following, and we have a very large people have heard of us, but we are really passionate about wanting to get into our own communities as well. And so since I'm over it, I just got the ball rolling. I'm like, well, I better be an example. So I've been trying to do a lot in the Tampa area, because domestic violence is such a big prominent problem, and we're connecting to lots of nonprofits, because again, we want to know who we should if people call from the Tampa area, who can we send them to? If there's a human trafficking situation, here's a resource. We visited pregnancy centers where they have diapers and formula and things like that. We can have this knowledge, but also they can partner with us, and they can give our resource out. When we've done a training video that we sent to a pregnancy center, like, hey, this is how you can train the volunteers at your organization to know for the signs of domestic violence, because most people aren't coming in like, I'm getting abused.
Right.
So if they know in these intersecting organizations what to look for, they can then pass them our information, and we can help save a life. But it takes partnering, so that when they walk into that pregnancy center and they're scared and they don't know what to do, if they're being abused, they now can at least have that education. So we try to give people education. We try to advocate, speak, things like that. So it's been a really amazing journey. I went from just calling up there one day saying, hey, do you have an internship? I didn't have to do the internship, but I thought it would be good. And there was no job that came with that. And God just said, you do it with excellence. And just something in my gut kept saying, do it with excellence. And I helped fundraise for their Holidays of Hope. There's a program that we do at Christmas time that gets kids of domestic violence situations presents for Christmas. And I left my abuse at Christmas time. So I cried over the fact that my friend had I was crying at the fact that I couldn't have a Christmas tree for my kids. And my friend texted me minutes later, and was like, because we were going to stay with her just for a few weeks. She's like, I have this old Christmas tree if you need it for your kids. And I literally cried over an artificial tree.
Yeah, well, of course.
It was just the thought that like God knew my heart, even in the little things, even in the Christmas tree. So I knew when I heard of this Holidays of Hope that I wanted to do something. So while I was interning, I did a private fundraiser. We raised over $3,000 and were able to bless, that was at least 30 kids with domestic violence situations with presence. And so in that, I just kept working and did it with excellence. And then one day they were like, hey, we're creating a position. It's not even a position.
It's not even a thing.
And we think that you're the person for the job.
Wow.
And so God has just elevated this situation, and it's crazy to say, now I'm able to bless people that were in my shoes.
Yeah.
And I can't thank Break the Silence enough. They have been phenomenal. We are not a faith-based organization, but there's a lot of Christians.
Sure, of course.
We pray before our board meetings, and I've been talking to the Joy FM, getting connections with their prayer line, and they're all for it. So it's really cool because we're not faith-based, but we teeter that line.
Well, let me just say this. Like I've said, I've been in the nonprofit world for a long time, and there's not really a lot of difference between some faith-based organizations and, non. Yeah. They're like doing the same thing. Some faith-based organizations, I don't know what people think they do any different than another organization. It's not like, the faith-based, it's like you come in and half the day's just praying in tongues in the corner. Yeah. It's like normally they just come in and do the work anyways, and it's the same work at the end of the day. Yeah. So what's the difference?
It's the person. It's the person in the position.
Exactly. So you can
have the opposite too, where you have a faith-based organization.
Yes,
that's not,
bam.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won't even go there. It's another podcast for a different day. But I think that is beautiful. Now you have an event coming up.
We
or do you
constantly
not?
have events.
That.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. So we do have some upcoming events. We have a virtual 5K coming in the summer.
That sounds like a 5K I could run. I can do it just sitting in my living room.
Yes, you can actually walk in place for the 3.1 miles or whatever it is, and we'll give you a medal. So yeah, we're doing that. So you can.
Can I do it sitting down?
Yeah, I mean you can do it from wherever you want. You can do it from wherever you want, as long as you're helping, support those survivors. Yeah. And any money that's raised through that goes to our Grants of Hope program. So we have something at Break the Silence called the Legacy Families. They are families of those who have lost loved ones to domestic violence. So our president, actually, her daughter was murdered, pregnant from her ex, and so we're very passionate about the families of the lost loved ones as well.
Where is she from?
Texas.
Oh.
So yeah, she has a very beautiful story, but a very sad story as well. And we have many of our board members have lost loved ones. So we really are passionate about that. So the Grants of Hope goes to those families who have lost loved ones to give them, at the end of it, they can use that grant for school. They can use it to help with, some of them have used it for even car issues, like things like that. So we try to help get money to those survivors and their families. And we're also through the year just doing lots of different things. Like I said, the Holidays of Hope is one. We're doing a sister survivor retreat at the end of the month where women who are survivors all get to come together in an undisclosed place, and it's a healing retreat. So it's like, you laugh, you cry, that kind of thing. Yeah. I think women went and got tattoos together at this retreat. So
wow.
Yeah. So well,
there you go.
You guys
we're finding a tattoo artist.
Yeah, and so and we are having another one in September that I actually get to go to for the first time. So I'm very, very excited for that. And we do things all through the year.
That's beautiful.
It's virtual a lot of times though, because we are a virtual based organization. But the things like the retreats, those are obviously
person.
In person.
That's beautiful. That was actually my next question, which was where is it located? But it's a virtually based.
Yeah, so we are located out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, but all of us work from all over the country. Like I'm from obviously Florida. We have Texas. We have North Carolina.
Yeah.
We have
Virginia.
Yeah, so we're Colorado, so we're from everywhere. But yeah, so the cool thing is we really like Zoom all the time. You feel like you're with the person all the time, but we really some of us have never met in person. So.
I wrote a whole book with a person via Zoom.
Yeah.
So and we didn't meet until like
we're gonna
well
all just
into
be
the
holograms one day.
Yeah. I sort of feel like I am now, but yeah. So Tim, what do you got next coming up on your plate?
Oh boy. Well, I want to, like I said, educate myself and position myself in the best way possible to assist in the nonprofit world. I am even contemplating on going back to school this fall.
All right, there we go.
So we'll see how that goes. But
what are you contemplating? What are you thinking about?
Business. Yeah,
right.
I have my associate's degree.
Okay.
And I technically
St. Pete College.
Yes,
I remember that.
Yes, sir. So that I went ahead and I applied to their bachelor program, was accepted. I meet all the qualifications. I went ahead and filled out my FAFSA and all that good stuff. So
yeah.
you could kind of say it's in the
happening,
works.
dude. If you filled out the FAFSA, you are like you're on your way.
Alone is like takes skill.
Trust me, man. My son is in college right now, and I'm becoming very adept at doing the FAFSA.
Oh boy!
My
So
kids go to school while your brain still works because it's a lot harder when you get this.
So I'm doing the fitness thing. I will be continuing to do that. My volunteering with Break the Silence is going to continue, obviously, and I hope to kind of partner, especially with Dana, with the ambassador program, because I think it's kind of cool to have a male's perspective on things, especially with that kind of topic. So I try to do my best I can with there. Always keeping my eye open for any kind of, like I said, non-profit, maybe part-time work or full-time, who knows. But in the meantime, that's schooling.
It's beautiful, man.
It's scary, brother.
Yeah, man.
My brain doesn't work quite the way it used to, friend.
So, mine, thank God, I was in my addiction in the first part, so my brain still kind of works as good as it did back then because, they kind of level each other out.
Yeah.
So we've been sober 15 years, so it's sort of back to where it was in 5th grade now. So
it's like trauma, man. Trauma. I tell people trauma eats part of your brain or something because like my memory, I will literally walk in a room and forget why I walked in.
No, that is a huge part of trauma.
Oh my gosh.
I had this discussion with someone the other day where he was describing somebody and just the horrendous, that she'll wake up somewhere and be like, not wake up, but just find herself in a room and like, why am I in this room? And,
or disassociation.
And I'm
feel
like,
like you're outside your body. I used to tell people like, I don't feel like I'm really here. Like I'm here, but I'm like watching myself from outside. And I don't do that much anymore. But what I realized was your brain wants to escape its circumstances.
Yes.
So it learns to do that. But then once you're out of it, you got to learn to heal so that you're not continuing to do it even when you're not in it.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Gabor Mate? He's just a hero of mine, but he writes on, all kinds of stuff. But trauma is his thing, and he's one of the premier people that first, advocating for trauma being at the root of all addiction. And he's amazing. But he says that one day I went through some of his training, and in one of the trainings he says, if someone says to you, how was your weekend? And are you able to discern how it was? And I had to sit there for a second and think about it. He's like, in other words, can you describe how the weekend was? Did you feel it? Or are you someone that's like, I really don't know how it was. Like, I know what I did.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't really it was okay. I'm here. Yeah. He's like, but there's not like a strong emotional feeling in that.
Or they'll just be like, it's all right.
He's, or just all right. I'm like, well, I guess I don't know. And then he goes on to say, he's like, well, that's not normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like that. A normal person whose brain did not go through trauma can emotionally feel how yesterday was.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They can tell. But when you've went through so much trauma in your life, you tend to disassociate all the time. And even though you're present, you're outside yourself.
Kind of
Therefore,
when you're driving and you don't know how you got there.
Yes, it's exactly like that. Yeah. But I never even knew that. I never knew it was like some people could actually feel things. And I still, to this day, I'm still working through my trauma and struggling with that.
Oh,
and,
yeah, 100%.
But most people don't even realize that they can't be in tune with their authentic self in a way that lets them actually connect with what they're feeling or what they felt.
And yeah, that's a crazy point that you make there. And as you were saying that, the first thing that popped in my head is like in police work.
Yes.
You have to shut down all emotion. Like
Absolutely.
there is a mission. Yeah. And if you feel in that moment, in some cases, that could be dangerous. That could be horrible because you have to be the one that shuts it down, handles business while everybody else is freaking out, for lack of better terms. But you're a human being, so it's tough to do that. But after several years and several scenarios, it's weird because you will find yourself almost like just going blank, shutting it down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I struggle with that even till today.
The central nervous system never forgets.
No.
So you may forget it, you may be out of it, but basically your body's conditioned to react to whatever it did in the trauma.
Yeah.
So it's funny, like he sometimes has said things or just even like seeing something and I immediately get triggered where I'm like, I have to like talk to myself. You're safe. You're safe. That was my word was you're safe. You're safe. I think everybody can have something that kind of brings them back. Like, what do you see? What do you smell? How do you get your senses back? Because you're in, this is not perception. You're in reality. Like, how can you get grounded back? And so that's what I've tried to do when I have those moments because it's easy to think you're in that moment, especially when somebody does something that is so like reminds you. I know for me, part of the abuse that I went through for a period of time was he spit on me and he threw food and liquid on me. And so when I see someone get water poured on them, for instance, even if it's like a silly thing, I don't like it because it triggers that moment. And I have to really tell myself like, you're okay. And you're okay. Like, this isn't happening to you. You're okay. And I don't know why that's a thing. Like, it's just something in me that just sticks out. My dad ingrained in me that you don't spit on people. It's like super disrespectful. So it was, and he knew that my dad had said that, so he used that. So I guess that's just, it's been ingrained in me for so long.
Of course.
But it's just about trying. If you know your triggers and you know those things that bother you, you're like already steps ahead.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't know. And so they're getting triggered by things and they don't realize
and
it.
They ruin relationships with people that have no reason to have that relationship ruined.
Yes. Yeah. And you have to know what it is that sets you off. And that's okay if it sets you off, because when I for my job, I'm the volunteers director where I interview volunteers and I kind of the mama bear to all the volunteers. And I tell them, like, this job can be triggering.
Sure.
This job, when you're talking to a survivor, I've heard stories that are, everybody's story is different, but it's all the same theme of domestic violence. But you may hear or see something that triggers you. And I tell them, that's okay. That's normal. But we don't ever want to put you in a position where your recovery is affected in a negative way. So if you ever feel like you're starting to get that compassion fatigue where it's wearing at you, let us know so we can give you a care break. We can talk to you, whatever we have to do. But if you don't say it out loud, people are very embarrassed of that. If you don't express the fact, like, I'm not feeling okay from this, then you're just going to walk around suffering and then eventually break. Yeah. And
yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing too, is that it's funny that we talk about exercising our muscles and exercising, good diet habits and stuff like that. But the thing that separates us apart from pretty much the rest of the world is our brain. Like, that's really the only thing. We're sitting marshmallow. You drop us in the jungle, with a lesser brain, and we're done. So it's crazy to me, for lack of better terms, how we don't take mental health as seriously as we should. Now it's getting better. Don't get me wrong, it's getting better.
Right.
But it's 2022.
Right.
It's just now starting to get better. There's something wrong with that.
Pray out things at the
Exactly.
altar too. I tell people, I'm like, no, listen, I believe in the power of prayer and I believe that God can heal you instantly, but sometimes that doesn't happen. If somebody had heart disease, we wouldn't be like, well, you're not praying enough. We would tell them to go to the doctor. So same thing with mental health. Sometimes when you go to the altar to pray about your depression, or you pray about your OCD or your bipolar disorder, God can heal you instantly, but sometimes it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to go seek help. and that's okay. And as Christians, we need to do better about not saying, well, you just got to trust God more.
Yeah, we have to do a lot better than that.
Yeah, we need men to step out and say, hey, look, you're not weak because you say something. Because that's the huge stigma, is that if I admit to you that I'm not mentally okay, if I walk up to a male and say, I'm not mentally okay, I need a care break.
Yeah.
How does that sound? You know? And that's the first thing that pops into your mind. Well, I would love to change that stigma, because guess what? You may need a care break, and that's okay. Yeah. That's all right. And you're not weak for that. It's not, to down you or make you seem weak. It's nothing. It's something you need as a man. You know what I mean? And that's okay. And I think the more and more we kind of break that stigma, we're going to see results in other areas of our lives too.
Absolutely.
Where men play big roles.
We have this inability to see beyond the moment that we're in, and because of that, we live in this moment. And so I don't want to look weak in this moment,
right?
But not realizing that this is going to cause me to really look weak down the road when I blow up my life.
Yeah. Which in ultimately will probably happen. Because, like I said, it happened to me.
Shape or form, right?
Absolutely.
And trauma recovery is lifelong.
Right.
And then that's why I say I'm a recovering codependent. I always say that, because I will never be too prideful to think that I can't fall back into that. So I have to be aware of, it's not what defines me. Being codependent isn't my definition. It's something that I've dealt with. Being bipolar, it's not who you are. It's something you deal with. So it's important to know that it's not your identity, because I feel like the world and Satan wants to go after our identity, and that includes in mental health. Oh, well, you're just crazy. Well, no, you're not crazy. You have something that you need to seek help with. But I always say recovering, because it allows for us to say, hey, we are weak in our flesh. In my flesh, I can go to codependency easily.
Sure.
But with God, I am strong and I can keep my recovery going. But I will never, because like there's a scripture that talks about, you can cast out a demon, but if you're not diligent with it, it can come back with 7 more.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want it coming back with 7 more in my life.
Luke 13, yeah.
Look at you. But
well, I know that one.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Because 7 more, yeah.
Don't we all know that one?
Keep that house clean.
Yeah,
oh boy.
Those 7 more can be, anger and lust and things like that. So for me, I say recovering because it allows me to be a human being. I'm not perfect, but I've come so far with codependency. Now I'm like, nope, and any addiction, that's the way it should be. But our trauma recovery will be lifelong. If you ever think you're at a point where you just got it done and you don't have, that's when the devil can come in and...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's just this change of mindset that we're on a journey. Paul says that we will not be complete until the day that Christ returns, right? And so understanding that this is part of it, right? Whether it's the healing of trauma, whether it's walking through addiction, whether it's walking through whatever brokenness that you've been through that maybe everybody else around you hasn't. But to be the person that God has called us to be, to walk in that God-given identity, it is to understand that is a daily thing. It's it's a daily, listen, this is today. Jesus says, when he says, don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will come with its own set of problems.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Worry about today.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
because just shut that down, right? It's don't worry about it, man. Today.
Because I used to worry about the next day
and
the next day and the next day.
Then this is going to happen, and then that spirals out of control.
I used to do that so much.
Therapy to take one thing at a time.
That's it.
Literally, when I started doing that, it's so simple, but it works, But just a second ago, God brought to my memory something that's so awesome about this podcast and what we're doing is my brother. When he was an addict, he was very young. He started very young, just because that's what he thought was normal. That's what he saw, and he went to a Christian rehab and he got really good. I don't know if that's good English. He got really well. And
I don't know.
Yeah.
Talking to the wrong guy. Probably sounds perfect to me.
Me too.
I'm from upstate New York, man.
Yeah. Well, Florida, Florida, man. It's always that. But anyway.
Because Florida schools are so much better.
Hey, UF right here, baby. But my brother, he said to me, I want to help counsel young people who are addicts. And then, unfortunately, when he got out of rehab, he went back to his old friends, got back into the same routine, and then overdosed at 24. to be here today to talk about, I always said to myself, I promise you I'm going to keep your memory alive. I promise it to my brother, because I was angry for a while and somebody gave me this vision. They said, I want to prophesy something about your brother. He's free now. He's no longer, it's kind of like a cancer patient that's suffering. He's not suffering anymore because he had a lot of mental health issues, and he just could not get over the fact that he was clinically separation anxiety diagnosed with my mother. So when she died, he lost it. He was just very sad, and he's not suffering anymore. Of course I'd want him here, but he's not suffering anymore. Right. I don't want him here suffering. So to be here today talking about addiction, I feel like I'm honoring my little brother.
Yeah, absolutely you are.
And so I've always thought it'd be cool one day to somehow, because I don't feel like my heart is necessarily called to specific things. I feel like it's trauma.
Yeah,
it's all trauma.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
So we don't ever pigeonhole ourselves into one thing. We try to do it all. But to sit here today and be able to honor my mom, my dad, my brother as addicts and it not be a negative thing, I just want to thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I promised myself I would do that for them. And so, it's really cool to get that opportunity, because I really hope that through this ministry that you have and through other ministries that we can see that people, like I said, I found out that I had an addiction too. Addicts are not bad people. They just are deceived. They're living in the not abundant life, and that's why we call ourselves the Trauma Survivor Guide to Life Abundantly, because we all live a life, but is it abundant?
There's a philosopher, I forget which one it is, but he says something along the lines of those in addiction actually are the blessed ones, because they can become aware of their broken spiritual condition more so than the normal person, and then they can, out of that awareness, go through the steps to complete and total healing, as opposed to the person who has a different type of brokenness that isn't as apparent, that stays stuck in that.
And then too, how many people, if you intersect domestic violence with addiction, how many addicts are either have been abused and now they're coping with it, or in my case, I know that my ex-husband was an addict who was abusing me, and a lot of his anger came when he was withdrawing or when he was coming off of it.
Oh, well, yeah.
So on the flip side, there's a huge intersection with addiction and domestic violence.
Big time.
I don't have the actual statistic in front of me, but I know that it's more or less people that abuse, especially, a lot of times there's an addiction problem.
Well, I can tell you this one, because it's something I've focused a lot on lately, but sexual abuse in men. Sexual abuse, 1 in 6 men has been sexually abused as a child. When you look at men that are in what we would term addiction, the hardcore addiction or whatever, that number goes up to 80%.
Oh, yeah.
80% of men in hardcore addiction were sexually abused.
Yeah, because it's shameful. And as a man, do you want to admit that you were sexually abused?
And most of the men I counsel don't even realize it was sexual abuse.
Yeah, and because it's attacking their identity. When sexual abuse comes with some of the hardest of many issues that people have in life. It's usually they've been sexually abused, because that innocence as a child, especially, it is robbed from you, and it is an attack on your identity, who
Absolutely.
You are, your sexual identity. I know people that are like, I didn't know why this felt a certain way, but it was wrong, but I was confused, and so it's an attack on the identity of a person. And when you have men walking around wounded, and a lot of abusers, I'm not saying that if you've been abused you will be an abuser, but
they become.
But most abusers have been abused themselves.
Absolutely.
It's a cycle. It's a generational trauma. That needs to be broken.
Yeah, but what if we could break that chain?
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking personally too, is that what if we could break that chain? Catch those guys and be like, hey man, this happened to you. We're very, very sorry. But you shouldn't be ashamed of it, and get help, get healing.
Yeah.
So maybe
that's all about the awareness, man.
Exactly. And then maybe perhaps we could save them from being an addict. Because guess what?
Yes.
Alcohol, drugs, it's so easy to turn to that when you're trying to suppress things. That's like the easiest thing to turn to.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
So it's like, what if we could catch them before that?
And that is I think most people don't fully understand, amazing people like yourselves that are trying to bring awareness to things, because the mind doesn't realize it's like, we're looking at different phases of life. So you're trying to bring awareness to something, and that is because there's the person who's currently struggling, And so we want them to be aware that there's help.
Right.
We bring awareness to things because there's a person who's went through it, and we want them to know that there's support. But then there's the other group of people that have not went through anything yet, and we're trying to make the person that's about to abuse them aware of what they're doing.
Right.
So it's like so much more. Even like for me, by bringing awareness around addiction, it's like you're either trying to help the guy who's struggling currently, the guy who you don't want to struggle in the future, or my thought is, why don't we just stop from people from becoming addicts in the first place?
Or the families.
Or,
I know that I wasn't a drug addict, but when you're the only sober one going through it, I went through every bit of that addiction of my whole family.
Sure.
Of my ex-husband, and I was sober, knew what was happening, suffering. I mean, I don't know how many times I would be looking out the window wondering where he was. Is he dead in an alley? Things like that. It is torture for the families of the addicts too.
Yeah.
And so when we bring awareness, it allows people to feel like, because the one thing too, I think when you say somebody died from drugs, people are like, oh, okay.
Right.
There's an absolute stigma with that.
It's not as bad of a death or something.
Yeah. It's all he brought it on himself.
So incredibly wrong.
Yeah.
Somebody even came to me when my dad died. Now, mind you, he died from taking it. Just his body just gave out one day.
Yeah.
Somebody was like, "Oh, I heard your dad committed suicide," and I'm like, first of all, why would you even say that?
Why would you say that to someone?
But second of all, they just assumed because his wife had died 3 weeks before,
and then he died
from drugs. He must have did it on purpose. And I'm like, you have no idea. He was fighting.
Well, I am so sorry that you had to hear that.
Yeah, and it's okay. I mean, I've heard a lot of things.
I may or may not have a blog coming down the pipe about that exact subject.
Please keep me in the loop on that one.
Yeah. I got something in the works that I'm going to speak about as far as that goes, and the stigma with people who overdose and how you hear, oh, yeah, it's so sad that person died, and then the toxicology report comes out, and then they're like, oh, and you're like, no, that doesn't.
We don't do that to people that with diabetes that die.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't even do that with people that die from smoking and have lung cancer, and they smoked up until the day they died. You still are like, man, I'm so sorry they died. Nobody's like, they did this to themselves. Yes. It's why is it that it's addiction? And don't get me started because I have all my thoughts on that, and because I do.
And that's why we believe in health. I mean,
absolutely.
We see people die more, I think, from
of course
obesity-related issues and all that. And we're not trying to say anything negative about anybody that's struggling with that, because I've struggled with that myself. But what we believe in is life abundantly is being healthy in all ways, and that's mental, physical, things like that. But, I know that's with Christians too. They never talk about, food and things like that, but they'll talk about the drug addict and they'll talk about this person. And I'm like, yeah, but you're not healthy either in the sense of either mentally, physically. And so I think it's time that we don't have to shame people. If you're dealing with food a relationship with food, how do we love on you? How do we change that? Because it's all about changing, because we all are born with a void that only Jesus can fill.
Yeah.
We are all born with this hole in our heart that it's to accept Jesus Christ in our life. But unfortunately, we fill it with earthly things.
Yeah.
Whether that's food, drugs, alcohol, pornography. There's lots of things I could list. How do we fill that hole with Jesus and then tame our flesh to not, because we are going to be tempted, but how do we, do that? And that's the thing. Nothing will ever satisfy but Jesus.
That's
Nothing.
I love it.
So we have to learn how to let God do what he called us to do and be who he called us to be and fill the voids with the right things.
Amen. Man, I'm sitting here and I'm like, I could talk to these two all day, and Cole's probably over there going, we just recorded 3 episodes, George. I just am so honored to be with you guys and to get to know you guys. I love both of you. I think your hearts are amazing. I love your journeys and just the work that you're both doing. Tim, I'm excited for what you're going to do, man.
Thank you, brother.
God is going to do something big with you, man. I just see it.
I appreciate that. And I received that, man. I really do.
I'll take that one.
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Write that one down. No, but he is. I think, first responders, everything you've seen on the police force, and I know that you're going to be able to take that into a powerful message.
Thank you. I appreciate it, brother.
Both you guys. I'm excited for the work you're doing.
Thank you.
And I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah, and please, anything we can do to support your ministry as well, please keep us posted, because we know Tampa's my heart. I love Tampa. So I want to see the city be there.
As long as we can keep living here, it's getting a little expensive.
Oh, I know, and they keep building more and more.
I don't understand how they keep building, but the prices keep going
and
up.
The roads,
I'm like
we live over at Wesley Chapel area. The roads,
Yeah,
they don't have any roads. I'm like,
it's like it's tough. Anyways, oh man. So everybody, I'm hoping that this has been super informative and enlightening for you. Make sure you check out all of their stuff. They're hard to miss once you become their friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
They're like all over the place. It's a trauma guide to life abundantly.
The
trauma survivor's guide to life abundantly. I was like, man, I need to have that written down.
And it's traumasurvivorsguide.com.
Yeah, okay, there we go. That's shorter. So make sure that you check this out, check their stuff out, and I'm sure you'll like it and keep following them. So thank you for checking out our stuff. Make sure you like and subscribe this video, and hopefully I said that right. My producer is looking at me, and he's showing me the right finger. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
The thumb.
Yeah.
He's showing me the thumb. So like and subscribe. So thank you, everybody.